Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, it's that time of year again, where students across the globe are getting ready to sit their examinations, whether it be for high school, secondary school, college, or university, whatever it might be, but they are at this point in time facing the anxiety and the stresses of preparing for such examinations. Now, these examinations are very important because chances are that how you perform on that examination day is going to some extent determine the kind of lifestyle choices you're able to make, the kind of careers you're able to pursue, and thus the kind of income that you'll be able to generate when you finally leave education. So it's really important that you do well. Of course, all of this is ultimately down to the qadr of Allah Azza wa Jal, but you need to take the means, and that's what I'm talking about right now. So more than 8 years ago, I put together a program called How to Smash Your Exams. And I called it How to Smash Your Exams, the Muslim Study Guide. Now, the reason I put this together is because me myself being a product of the education system in the West, just like many of you, and what I realized was that there is a huge disconnect between the information that they teach you in school and how to actually go about studying for that information. Let me explain. You see, in school, they'll teach you the formula, they'll give you the statistics, they'll show you how to grammatically structure a sentence, they'll give you the raw facts, but what they won't teach you is how to go about studying and preparing and taking notes and memorizing, and then how to then communicate that information back in an examination setting. So they teach you what you need to know, but they don't teach you how to study. And that's why you get many people that are very bright, very intelligent, very, very smart, yet they get terrible grades. They work really hard, but they don't work smart. I had a friend back in school, and he was a very, very, very bright kid. In fact, he used to write articles that were published in magazines. And he used to write about, social political situations in countries, and, he used to research into history. I mean, he was a very intelligent guy. But after we received our examination results, I went up to him and I asked him, expecting him to get A's and B's, "What did you get?" And he looked at me with a bit of a disappointed face. He said, "My grades spelt feed." And then he lifted the paper in front of me, and there it was. I read F-E-E-D. And that was extremely confusing to me, because I saw this boy to be brighter than myself. I saw him to be more intelligent than myself. He was more eloquent in the way that he put words together than myself. I mean, he had articles being published in magazines. How did he get such poor results? And the difference between him and myself and him and the rest of the students, and the reason why we got better grades than him, was because we inherently, to some extent, had learned how to study better than he did. So it's not about studying hard, it's about studying smart. You can put time in to just studying, but if you don't know how to study, how to actually digest that information, and then put it into words in an exam setting, it's not going to help you much. I mean, imagine trying to break through concrete with your bare hands. All that's going to happen at the end of the day is that you're going to leave with some cracked knuckles and cuts and blood over your fists. But if you use the jackhammer, in half the time, you can smash through the concrete. And that is the reason why we put together this program, so you could smash through your exams by learning techniques and methods and practices that will help you to perform at the highest level possible with minimal effort. Now, when I say minimal effort, that doesn't mean you get to be lazy and sit back and do nothing, but no, you won't have to work as hard as some people that are just smashing their knuckles against the concrete, but you still have to work hard. And that's why we call it How to Smash Your Exams. But why do we call it the Muslim Study Guide? And the reason for that is because after finishing my university studies, I went on to pursue Islamic studies. And when I started to study the religion, one thing that became very clear to me is that studying Islamic studies is a lot more robust and is a lot more tough than secular studies. And anyone who studied Islamic studies understands the degree to which you have to be precise the degree with which you have to be diligent is on a different level. So when I started to study this, I had to then up my game and perform at a higher level. But you see, here's the thing. When you study Islamic studies, one of the first things that the scholars they teach, before they go straight into Aqidah and Fiqh and Hadith, is they teach you how to study. There's a whole subject called Manhaj. Manhaj fi talab al-ilm. The methodology of seeking knowledge, in which the scholars, they teach you how to memorize. They teach you how to read. They teach you how to take notes. They teach you all of these things. And guess where they got the majority of it from? The foundational principles and elements for how to study, they got it from the Quran and the Sunnah. And where else would they get it from? When the first thing that was revealed in the Quran to this ummah was Iqra, read. The first command that was given was to read. So this is an ummah that reads. This is an ummah that acquires knowledge. When you look at all of the things that Allah commanded to the Prophet to make dua to be increased in, He only asked him to be increased in one thing, which was knowledge. The Prophet would make the dua, Rabbi zidni ilma. Oh Allah, increase me in knowledge. Not increase me in wealth, not increase me in anything else. Knowledge is such an integral part of our religion. Therefore, the methodology of how to seek knowledge would also be an integral part of our religion. So having gone through the secular education system and also now being a student of the Islamic sciences, I have been able to some extent gather between the best practices of the secular study system and also the Islamic study system. And with that, we put together this program called How to Smash Your Exams. But this year, my brothers and sisters, it's going to be extra special and extra beneficial for 3 reasons that none of the other years got before. Reason number 1, this year, you're going to have to do a huge amount of your primary revision and exam prep during Ramadan. How do you balance between Ramadan and your study? Some of you are going to have to do your actual examinations in Ramadan. So there are elements of nutrition, elements that are connected to your sleep. So much that's involved, we're going to be tackling them in this year's How to Smash Your Exam. The second thing is that we've just had COVID for 2 years. A lot of students are going to be sitting their examination, and for the last 2 years, they've never had such an absence of one-to-one time with their teacher. They've been studying from home. They've been studying from a computer screen. This has no doubt affected the confidence of a lot of the students, which is why you're hearing a lot on the media, on the news about them having anxiety. And no doubt it would have also affected their actual ability to perform as well, because studying over a computer screen is not the same as studying what? Inside a classroom setting. We're going to be showing you, inshallah ta'ala, how to overcome that as best as we can. And we're going to try and help minimize the negative effects of not being in a classroom for a huge portion of the last 2 years. On this is How to Smash Your Exams. And the third reason is because for the first time I'm actually going to have a special guest, Mr. Wavy, Abbas. You know Abbas, right? We're going to have Abbas, brother Abbas, join us inshallah ta'ala. And he is going to be joining me in teaching How to Smash Your Exams. And what he brings to the table is something amazing. This brother, Allahumma barik, he performed very well in his examinations in college and university. He was a first grade student studying mechanical engineering. And after leaving university, he decided to teach himself a completely different craft. He self-taught himself code. And after teaching himself programming and coding himself with the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal, he landed a fantastic job without any professional work experience prior, and then even set up a business. Allahumma barik, on the back of this new skill that he had acquired. How did he manage to do that? With Allah Azza wa Jal's permission, he managed to do that. Why? Because of the techniques that he learned across the way, which he's now going to teach to you, alongside myself on this program. So my brothers and sisters, if you'd be interested in joining us for this year's How to Smash Your Exams, Click the link below and register ASAP. Registration is limited and the days are also counting down. We will be starting this program very soon. Are you going to be on it? That's the question. We've had students in the past go up grade boundaries from E's to B's, from C's to A's. The program really works. Click the link below, inshallah ta'ala. Subhanaka rabbi hamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.